hold the guitar like this. I can barely get my hand around it. This, the neck and especially the body, very big, very heavy. Not too heavy, but it's a substantial guitar here. Okay, here's the deal. It's kind of loud out here, so I'm going to talk loudly. Hopefully I won't have to overdub too much, but the lights it's much better out here. So, okay, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top. How to check out a guitar. We're going to find out what's wrong with this one. And it's also how to set up a guitar. It's all one lesson. It's really the same thing. Won't be surprised if I actually re-upload this with another title sometime. Okay, here we go. Start at the bottom. The little strap lock, the little strap button. And this will just, and we're going to talk about this like it's hardware in general. This is hardware. Look at all the hardware. Make sure there's no rust. That's what we want to check there. Make sure everything is tight. Right? Some tuners actually have a little play in them on purpose at the beginning. But these don't. These are vintage tuners. They should be tight. And what I call the design flaw with Fender Strat, I think it's safe to say that, is that on many of them this comes loose. So it looks like vintage has a different design slightly here. You've got a washer on there. Anyway, it's not a big deal. It's just kind of annoying. Some people like this loose on purpose, but whatever. This is a good time to take measurements now. You want to measure things like the string length, string width of the bridge, and the width of the whole entire bridge mechanism itself. Right? Those aren't all the same, especially if you're dealing with a tremolo. And speaking of tremolos, we'll move on to that. Tremolo should sit flat or slightly leaning back. It shouldn't lean forward like this. It's not meant to do that. It's not a big deal, but it just shows that people weren't really paying attention to what they were doing. The whole string mechanism is meant to be pulled back over this line. Also, make sure that the cutout here and the cutout with the pickguard are matching sizes. Right, this isn't exact. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. So this is a Wilkinson bridge or Wilkinson saddles. This is not one of their better ones. It does not stay in tune. It's going to go right into the trash. Another measurement you want to take is here at the nut. And the reason you want to do this is just to know, but also to make sure you're not buying anything weird that you can't get new parts for. Right? Other measurements that are not so important are this one, volume knob. Main ones are the bridge and the nut. You want to count the number of frets to make sure they didn't rip you off, give you like 14 when you didn't really notice. Alright, you check the pick guard, give it taps. It should feel very solid. The holes should all line up and all the screws should be in. Right, that's how you can tell if something was changed, unless, it was changed, and then sometimes it's okay. It's better anyway to have the pickups you get in there. But you kind of should know why if they don't line up. One pet peeve of mine nowadays is that they cover these things in protective plastic. and it's hard to get this out, especially under the volume knob and tone knobs. And in fact, you have to take them off, which isn't such a big deal, but it's annoying just to get the little bit left of plastic here, which you don't want. You don't want that here. It's going to affect the way the pot turns. And then to get the last little bit, you've got to use a wrench and unscrew this, which is really sucky. So that's my little troll for the week. My pet peeve is the plastic on these pickguards. Okay, so everything's good so far. Now the pickups, you want to give a tap, make sure there's no wiring problems, make sure there's no crackling or anything. Same with the input jack. This guitar, the bridge is going away. I don't like any kind of bridge with springs in it for the saddles. It's just, I don't think it works very well. Focus, stupid. Springs for the saddles don't work very well. I mean, look, they come back crooked. They don't compress the same way. Springs are a haphazard way to do it. And what I did on the white guitar is this was a 6-pointed bridge. I put in a better 6-pointed bridge. I drilled an extra hole because it was wider, 54 millimeter instead of 52. And I only used these 2 screws to turn it into a 2-point bridge. It's an old trick to convert to a 2-point bridge, which is more reliable because there's less points of friction. The frets, you want to run your hands up and down the outside, and it shouldn't be rough or it shouldn't stick your fingers. You know, the good guitars, it'll be very smooth. You won't barely notice, and this one's a little bumpy. Okay. Inspect the frets, make sure they're not out of shape. The nut, if there's a problem with the nut, you'll probably hear it. But these grooves should all be, you know, relatively the same length from the wood. You want to make sure when you're looking down that there's an arc to the strings that matches the arc of the fretboard, whatever shape it is, and that's controlled by the saddle height. The saddle height is controlled most of the time with little hex wrenches here. They go down and then it lifts up the saddle. Right, so if you have bad action or buzzing, you may have to adjust that. You may have to adjust the string length or position if the 12th fret harmonic does not match the note. You should measure that with a tuner. And if that's a problem, they don't match, then you need to move the saddle back and forth for the string length a little bit. And that's usually a screwdriver here, but sometimes it's an Allen wrench. This one is a screwdriver, Phillips. What else? Know about the serial numbers, where they are, where to look for them. Is it on the plate? And check the serial number. Not to see if it's stolen, you'll never know that, but to see if they're telling you it's a 65 and it comes out as a 72, you know, people aren't going to really, I don't think, try and get away with that too much. I don't like this tremolo, it falls out. I don't like that. I think you can fix it with the tightening it, but I don't like it. I already don't like it. Nothing interesting in there. I looked in there already. Nothing interesting here. The most important thing you should check for is that you don't have any cracks here. In the neck, or in the body, in the finish, or in the wood. That means it's been under too much pressure for too long because of the screw design, this bolt-on neck design. And that's never going to get better. It's only going to get worse. You can't fix it. You don't want to deal with cracks here. That's a deal breaker for me. I won't buy a guitar, period, if it has cracks here. Tuners, just make sure they, you know, this guitar stays in tune. Really hard to say. Check that out with 10 minutes at the guitar store, but, you know, make sure the action's smooth at least. And then you want to make sure the guitar's neck isn't warped on both sides. A warp in one direction on both sides is okay, or on one side is okay. It's not too bad. It's just if it's looks like waves on the ocean, if there's multiple warps, different directions, then that's impossible to fix. So if it's a little bit warped, it's easy to fix. Really, it's not a great sign that it might be a little bit warped. Maybe they're not taking care of it, but it's easy to fix. You turn the truss rod here. There's videos how to do that. The truss rods are in different places. This one's here. Some are under the neck. Some are on the back of the guitar, which is nice. They're right here. There's just like a circle. And it's a slight warp. It's a quarter turn. It's a big warp. It's a half turn. Most of the time it's like an eighth. If you live in a very humid place, you'll get the hang of when, every season you need to change it and how much. Some woods warp more than others, obviously. One thing you want to check for is you want to look at the pickguard in the light and see how it reflects the light and make sure that it's totally flat. That's the best way to check that. This guitar has a problem. Right in the middle of the pickguard, there's a bulge, and I don't know why. You can kind of see it here. It's under the middle pickup. There's that's either that the pickguard didn't fit right, or there's something inside there bulging out. Neither of those are good. Here's me loosening the pots so I can get the stupid plastic off. Here's another little annoying bug. Listen when I tighten the lock on the locking tuners. It changes the pitch, and that really sucks. Other than that, they're good tuners, though. You just got to keep them really tight. Those are the Schaller tuners from 1990. I mean, the Wilkinson, but I don't think they make them anymore like that anyway. Here are the tools you'll need. Phillips screwdriver, all the Allen wrenches came with the guitar. I bought a Wilkinson bridge that came with 4 Allen wrenches. I'm like, come on, guys. These are the pickups. They're the brains behind the guitar. They do the actual computation. And these buttons are all the Wi-Fi antennas. You get 6. So, because you get more bars that way. You get 6 bars. And under this fret, there is a little microphone, and it's a voice recognition. This is thumbprint identification, so no one else can play it but you. Even if they steal it, it's no good to them. So ha ha.